The clothing brand Nude Project made an estimated $54.2 million in 2024, and it's thanks to one simple Instagram strategy that you can steal today. And when my clients used it for themselves, they started getting comments from loyal customers saying things like, "I'm gonna need that product ASAP." So in today's video, I'm going to break down why the Nude Project customers are so loyal, the $54 million content strategy that blew up their brand, and how you can build a cult-like following of your own with the same strategies no matter what size or niche. So what is this Nude Project content strategy anyway? Well, here's how it works. Most brands will post randomly and it leaves their Instagram page feeling a little disjointed. When customers are watching your content, they aren't really immersed. But look at this bunch of posts here on Nude Project's Instagram. They're not random. They all feel like they belong to the same story. You see suitcases, boarding passes, travel outfits, even little moments between friends. So when someone lands on their page, it feels like they're immersed in a whole lifestyle. And every time Nude Project drops new products, they build another little world just like this so people stay, scroll, and eventually buy. So this is the key to building a cult-like community that buys every time. And if you want this just like Nude Project, then you're gonna need 4 steps to bring this strategy to your own brand. So step 1, to make this work, you really need to find the glue that joins a group of posts together. Otherwise, your page will lose customers. But how do you do that? Well, let's have another look at this specific campaign from Nude Project. They haven't randomly chosen products with no relation to each other. And the same is true for their content. There's a clear theme going on. In this case, I can tell the theme is all about traveling with friends because even though they are showing off the products, the focus is more on where the products are worn and what they do when they wear them. And that reveals to us that step 1 is to define your theme. And this is where a lot of brands get stuck. So let me make this super simple. Your theme does not have to be that deep. It can literally just be an activity or lifestyle. And the best part is you don't even have to come up with it or try and invent something yourself because you can find a friend that you think embodies the brand and just ask them for the answer. But before you go and have to figure out what these questions are, let me just write them for you. First of all, ask, what do you do in your free time? And second, what would you spend your days doing once you're retired? The first question gets to understand some of the activities they already do. But sometimes people don't do the things they want to do because of their other life commitments. So question 2 covers that part. And now you're just going to write out their answers into a list, and these can be all the themes of your future campaigns. Just start at the top with the most obvious ones and go from there. And if you really don't have any friends to ask, just answer the questions yourself and base your campaign themes around you. Now for step 2, you need to do something very specific to turn your theme into content that performs. And to show you how this works, I'm going to play a viral Nude Project reel from their travel campaign and then show you how to come up with a viral idea like this for your own brand. And this one's really funny. Have a look. Checking if I have drugs before the airport security check. I've never tried drugs. Notice 2 things here. First, the content plays directly into their campaign theme of airport travel. It's like just for one day, they become a travel brand and they're committed 100% to the bit. And when you're creating your videos, you should do the same. Don't just post cinematic fashion content and products as usual. Instead, make the content that's relevant to the theme you've chosen and softly integrate your products into it. This way, when people see your videos, they aren't just buying into the product, but into the lifestyle and the entire brand world. The second thing to notice is that Nude Project's video is entertaining. Often when someone is scrolling, they're looking to laugh or to be curious or surprised. And when we give people what they want, it makes them stay longer on Instagram. And so naturally, Instagram will push your content to more people. And I actually want to stay and watch this compared to a regular product video. So even if I'm not going to buy anything today because I'm just here for a laugh and not interested in your clothing, this video gives me an opportunity to one day become a customer. But you're probably thinking, how do I create this content? There's the idea, the script, the hook, the music. Well, you'd be surprised to know that creating high-performing content that relates to your theme is more simple than you think. But before I reveal how, I must let you in on a little content strategy secret that Nude Project is employing here. So again, here's the reel we just saw before, but here is another video from an entirely different Instagram account. It says, POV, airport security pulls my bag for extra screening and suddenly I'm not sure if I pack socks or explosives. Okay, still funny, but a little bit familiar. And how about this one? My brain before going through airport security. What if I accidentally have a gun? And if we put these side by side, it's almost like they're taking inspiration from one another? Because they are. And that's how Nude Project consistently creates viral content, with posts getting upwards of 17,000 likes on the regular. The trick here is to get inspiration not from other clothing brands, but viral content outside of the fashion niche within your theme. But how do you do that? Well, Instagram now has a super powerful search engine where you can enter any keyword and it'll accurately show you high performing content that includes that word. And now that you've got your campaign theme, this is exactly how you're going to find related content for inspiration. And the coolest part is that Instagram search doesn't only work with hashtags, because the algorithm now takes data from the words on screen, in the caption, in the comments section, and even what they say in the video to categorize. So in other words, this is an absolute game changer. You can search a word and you've got 1,001 content ideas at your fingertips. And so let me show you another video from this Nude Project campaign to see this strategy at play. And this is what they would post leading up to a release, by the way. And it's not like they've invented the character stereotypes idea either. They would have used a similar content research strategy to find inspiration from other corners of the internet. But now I'm going to demonstrate how to accurately track down this content. And let's say I was the creative director for this travel campaign and they wanted even more content ideas. Bruno Casanovas, llámame. I could search for something like airport funny or airport memes on Instagram, change the category to reels, and now I'm suddenly a genius clothing brand marketer. Only I've just taken someone else's idea and repurposed it for my own fashion brand. Like, check out this post I found. It says, "Don't pack too much, we're only staying 2 days, me." And then it has someone with a bunch of bags. I could literally just repurpose this by putting this person, retaking the photo, they're wearing the products. Now for your content, let's come back to your list of theme ideas and activities. You're going to pick one and find some sort of keyword that relates. So if your friend said they like to skateboard in their free time, I'd search skateboarding or skate park tricks. And now you're going to watch through the different videos that appear, and just like Nude Project, choose a few reels that you think you could recreate for your own brand campaign. And remember, they don't have to be memes or funny like Nude Project, but if your brand is on the quirkier side, then this is definitely a benefit because Instagram loves funny. But you're probably thinking, Elijah, I'm trying to actually sell some products here and you're just telling me to create these lifestyle theme videos. Well, that brings us nicely to step 3, because now I'm going to show you a few creative ways to use this content strategy to get your garments in front of millions of eyes. Starting with the most obvious, and it's giving your products to the models when you go to create this content. Nude Project is still doing this in every single theme video, and even though it's not the highlight or focus, there are tons of comments asking about the sizing and shape of the garments. And this is often a great sign of willingness to purchase, and you could simply respond to each and every comment like this to encourage conversions. But if you're a smaller brand and you want to take this even one step further, I would private message every comment directly. This takes a little more time, but the more direct and personal the interaction, the more effective the marketing. And in the beginning stages of a brand, even a few sales count. But there's an even more effective way to get your products in front of real eyes beyond just putting them on models. And before I teach you how, let me show you a video from Nude Project of this strategy in action. I want you to notice that this time, instead of just having the models wear the product, it's more front and center. And it's like they have some content that relates specifically and only to their travel theme, but other videos have found a way to focus on the fashion within that world. And to do this for your own brand, all you need to do is return to the content research strategy from before, except this time you're gonna watch with your product in mind. You could even add a keyword like fashion or fit to your current thematic search term. And so the template sounds something like theme plus fashion or theme plus fit. For example, skating fashion or travel fashion or artist painting fit. You don't have to be grammatically correct because Instagram is already pretty good. But otherwise, just consider some content that you could make around the idea of someone getting ready to go and do the activity that's within your thematic campaign. Like within the skateboard theme from before, it could be a simple get ready with me post where they pick up and ride their skateboard at the end. And so now you've planned this content strategy around around your drop. I'm going to reveal step 4 in a moment, where I'll show you the exact posting calendar that Nude Project uses leading up to a drop. But before that, here's why this strategy works so well for clothing brands. And to start, it's because Nude Project attracts way more eyes than they would otherwise with this content. Because if they were only posting lookbooks and model photos, no one would care. There isn't a single user that logs onto Instagram thinking, boy, I just can't wait to see an ad. Well, okay, maybe there's one, but that's not the point. The fact that entertaining content works is, however. And secondly, to make sure that their effort is not in vain, they include a not so sneaky plug for the drop. And that reminds me, I should include a not so sneaky plug in this video too. And I guess this is it. So if you have a clothing brand and you are serious about building a community of superfans, but still aren't sure exactly how, there's a link in the description where you can find out more about how to work with me. If not, that's cool too. Enjoy my free content. But anyway, back to the Nude Project integrations. Check this out. In every single post, they're reminding viewers what products are releasing and when they'll be available. So especially on the lead up to a drop, every time they post one of these reels, it's an ad ready to go viral and seen by millions. And in case you don't know what to put in your captions, I've just copied what Nude Project says and turned it into a template that you can use. And the formula is pretty simple. It's just your product title plus the day and then the time you're releasing and then the specific time zone. So yours might sound something like winter tracksuits this Friday, 5 p.m. PST. But one mistake that most brands make is saying a date in numbers like September 31 instead of the day of the week like this Tuesday. With social media, buying behavior is usually impulsive, and half the time people have no idea when September 31 is, let alone today's date. So if you tell them a day of the week instead, it'll make a real difference. But this next thing is the most important because it could make or break your drop. And if you fail to execute, it'll add unnecessary friction to the buying process that leaves thousands of dollars on the table. And it's to add the right time zone to your caption. Now, this is not about where you live, but where your customers buy from. And instead of guessing, I would use data to determine which time zone I'll include. The first most obvious way to do this is with Shopify, where you can search the region with the most buyers of your products. But if you haven't sold anything yet or not enough to get good data, then you can use Instagram instead. Just go to your Instagram profile and tap on Insights. Within there is a section called Audience, including the region distribution data of those that have your account. Just make sure to change the category from country to cities unless it's a larger time zone and you need to pick something within. But most of the time, you're probably just going to use your local time zone anyway, but it's still good to check. But I've kept you on the edge of your seat long enough. Now for step 4, I'm going to show you how much content and how long before a drop Nude Project plans so you can do the same with your brand. And the simple answer? Well, as much as humanly possible. What Nude Project has shown us is that every time they post a themed video leading up to their drop with the ad and the caption, it's another chance for their product to go viral. Just think about it. What if you could get your garments and a little ad about when they release in front of 8.5 odd million eyes before drop? Those kind of results don't really happen for brands just posting standard fashion product video. But let me give you a longer-winded, more specific answer to the question. How many times and how long before a drop does Nude Project start posting? Well, for one of their most recent drops, they made their first post 7 days before drop and then posted between 2 and 3 times a day on the lead up. But how do you do that as a small brand? Well, it really just comes down to 2 things. First, preparation. In other words, don't create this content on the same day you post it. You've got a lot more to create 16 odd posts in the months before you even announce anything. But the real trick is inefficiency. And this is why you batch create content in one day. I know it's almost like I contradicted what I just said, but genuinely, it's the best way to get the most output for time. Get your friends together and just create a bunch of videos that you've already planned. And now you know the exact strategy Nude Project uses to build a $54 million brand. But here's the thing. If you only post in the 7 days leading up to your clothing drop without building an audience beforehand, you can't expect much growth in that time. So click the video on screen now where I'll share 25 specific content ideas any brand of any size can copy and post even when you aren't dropping.